West Ham have had back-to-back wins, which has been fantastic. I think one of the big shining lights out of those two games, and let's be honest, there's quite a few shining lights out of those games, was Todibo, Jean-Clair Todibo. So he came back from an injury. He has been out for a little while. All looking forward to seeing him play, especially under Graham Potter. You know, he's clearly a talented defender. We've seen in bits. You know, it's been a weird first season for him at West Ham because the injuries have been have played their part. Obviously, he had the fallout, didn't he, with Lopetegui and all that kind of stuff. So it's not been the most smoothest of first seasons for him. So it's always a case of that. Let's see him work under Potter, see how well he plays. I've been really pleased with him. I thought he was outstanding against Arsenal. I know he only played for the hour, but I thought he was sublime in that game. I've just been really, really impressed with him. Whenever I've seen him play, I've been genuinely really impressed with him. Apart from the very, very early days, I think he played against Bournemouth. I think it might have been the FA Cup game. At London Stadium, and I know he had a bit of a crazy one then. He was all over the shop, but apart from that, he's been really good, and I feel like he's getting better and better. Which pains me when I read and keep seeing about this link of him going to Manchester United. Now we know that when we signed him from Nice in the summer, Manchester United were really wanted him. He was one of their top targets, but they weren't able to do it because of UEFA regulations in terms of competition. So Nice in the Europa League, so they couldn't do the deal, and also in ownership. So basically they couldn't do. They weren't able to do a transfer between the two clubs because of ownership, etc. So it opened the door for West Ham. Now West Ham, of course, had to go have competition from Juventus, but we were just able to muscle them financially, which was mad to say, isn't it? West Ham having more power and persuasion now in financially than the likes of Juventus, but that's the way of the world now. So what's going on? Obviously, the powers of the Premier League and the riches of it. It's what it enables us to do. So it was a big signing for West Ham. I think it was a big tick against the name of Tim Steidten, of course, no longer with us at the club, but I felt at the time he did really well there, the way that we negotiated. We put the offer in and we left it for a while, let them sort of negotiate a bit further with Juventus. I think the player wanted the Juventus move. Can't really blame him. I mean, obviously with Champions League football, etc. there, but we were able to go in when they were getting a bit closer to a deal, and we just smashed them blew them out the water. And I think it really irked Juventus. But oh well, what are you going to do? And then we go and we get our player. Now, there's been sort of it suggested loosely that West Ham have an agreement kind of in place that what we're going to flip the player, that we're going to then go, right, okay, we're going to have him for a season, then we'll flog him to Manchester United. That would be the kind of agreement that we've got in place. I don't buy it. I just don't buy that West Ham would do that. I don't believe that we are in the market to be selling. Or, don't believe that we'd have that arrangement in place. I don't think we'd ever go into that agreement thinking, okay, we'll only have him for a season, then we'll flog him to Manchester United at a profit. I don't see why we would do that. For a start, we need him, don't we? We need that player there. It's not as if he's a luxury that we could just do without and think, okay, well, if we let him go, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to make any difference. He's a big player for West Ham. He's clearly an important player for us because he makes such a big difference. I actually read the other day, I think it was the clean sheets we've kept this season. I think he played in every one of those games. I've been really, really, really happy with him. I think he is a top draw player, and I think he's shown it, especially against the Arsenal. I thought he was in the Arsenal game. He was outstanding, and obviously, and I say he's had some good performances as well since then. But the fact he's just come back from injury and he's looking that good, and it looks like this suits him. The system that Graham Potter adopts, I feel like suits Todibo. I don't want to see him go. I really don't want to see us entertaining any kind of unless of course it's astronomical money. If Manchester United come in and say, we'll offer you 55, 60 million pounds for the player, then you might go, oh, okay, this might be worth pursuing because then we can replace him and also strengthen elsewhere. So I do understand it, but in terms of raising funds, for a start, by the way, I'm not convinced West Ham have to raise tons and tons of funds. I think that we have got money there. We may have to make a sale. I think a player sale is coming on, but I can't see us selling loads of players this summer. The obvious sale would be Mohamed Kudus, considering because his value and the interest elsewhere, and that obviously would then provide the club with a huge amount of funds to go and reinvest. But I don't want to see Todibo go. I really don't. I really like the guy. He seems really happy. He seems like a really good character to have around. And like many of these players that since Lopetegui left, I feel like are going to push on and improve. I can see the shackles have come off now, and that cloud's now been lifted. and working under Potter's going to work well to Debo. So I'm really, really, really happy with him. But I don't like this link. I don't like we keep hearing about the Manchester United are going to make a move for him. Also, I've got to say as well, Man United, really? Like, really? Man United over West Ham at the moment? I wouldn't say so. I would not say so. That club is a car crash. An absolute car crash. If I'm him, I'd be avoiding that place like the plague. I don't think anyone goes there and does well. And never any players go there and thrive and come out there looking any better. They all come out of it looking worse. No one seems to enjoy their life there, do they? I mean, my God, I mean, it seems a really depressing play. I know West Ham hasn't been the most happiest of places this season, but good God, I know I've got my claret and blue glass on, but if I take them off for a minute and look at those two clubs, I'll tell you what, I'd much rather be at West Ham and Man United. I don't care what anyone says. I think they are in a complete disarray. And also as well, considering the fact you've got this Jim Ratcliffe who's gone to Manchester United and seems to be cutting costs all the time. I mean, he's bloody making them have soup, isn't he, for lunch? I don't think there's any sandwiches. He's banning them. Is he really going to be forking out £40 million, whatever it's going to need to get to Todibo from West Ham and put him on a huge salary? I'm not convinced. I really not. I don't like the link anyway. It's annoying me keep seeing it. I know that there was talk that a source from the club had suggested that possibly West Ham would look to flip him because to help the funding for Potter in the summer. But as I say, I don't see Todibo as one of those players. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to raise funds and flip a player, then maybe look at the likes of Guilherme, as I said, Kudus maybe. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to lose Kudus either when he's in fine form, but then I'm thinking we can live without. You know what I mean? We can then go and replace Kudus with someone better. Well, I'm saying someone better. He's a bloody good player, but you know what I mean? You could utilise that money, go and spend 30, 40 million pound on a player to replace him, and then you've got an extra 30, 40 million pound left over. It's a little bit. I can understand their appetite for that a little bit, but with Todibo, I don't understand it. I think he's a vital player for us. I think he's already showing early days working under Potter that this system will work well for him. This is a manager he can do well working with. And I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. And also as well, on top of that, we've heard that he's very well settled in London. He likes the city and his family is settled well. I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying this Manchester United link, and I don't like it for a player that we've, got a lot of money to commit to this summer on him, £35 million. I don't like the idea that it's all set up and ready for him to go to Manchester United. And as I say, if I'm him, I ain't going to Man United, no way. And I don't care if people say, well, you're going to say that being a West Ham fan. I mean, really? Do you honestly look at Manchester United as a club now and think, oh, that's where I want to be? No way. Looks an absolute mess. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. I don't really think there's much in it. We'll try and obviously find out a bit more about it. As I say, XWHU employee has done an update on Patreon. I'm going to do some runs and videos on that, and obviously hopefully there's some more clarity on this situation. But yeah, Todibo to Man United, not for me. Don't buy it. Come on, you ones.